Hey everyone, this is Stefan and we are live right now on YouTube. I want to make sure before we officially begin that you guys can hear me and see me okay. So if you're joining right now live, post a message in the live chat. Just give me a thumbs up. Let me know you can hear me, that you can see me okay. And let me know where you're from. Leave your name, where you're joining in from. It's a smaller, intimate group for this, and that can allow us to go more back and forth and me really be able to serve you guys and answer questions. So I've got my computer here. I'm able to see you guys that are joining in right now. It looks like the audio is good and the video is good, but again, if there's any difficulties, let me know. I just like to make sure that everything is good to go, everything's smooth before we dive into things. There's no technical difficulties. Perfect. Okay, so let's dive into it, guys. I'm really excited to have a chance to be able to speak with you guys today. I will mention that this will be recorded as well, so if you guys can go back through the link that you have for this video, you can watch the recording at a later point if you'd like as well. But as you guys know, you guys are the ones that have decided to go ahead and get this great book here called Opportunity. This is a book that, as I've shared with you guys, has started to make an impact on my life. Eben Pagan, who is the author of this book, who I recently interviewed on my YouTube channel, he's been a mentor of mine since I was 17 years old. And so you can imagine it's quite an honor to be able to meet your mentor, someone you look up to, someone that's made an incredible impact in your life, because I would not be who I am today if it wasn't for him. And so when he came up with this book, I'm friends with Eben Pagan's business partner here in Vancouver, and he said, hey, you should interview Eben. And so he is the one that set up the introduction. And I started going through this book really quick, and I wanted to support Eben with his launch. I wanted to kind of, show him my appreciation for the impact he's made in my life. And so I wanted to share this with you guys, my audience, and of course, I only really share anything or recommend anything that's personally benefited my life and I believe can benefit you as well. So hopefully you guys had a chance to get this book yet. I know some of you guys are still waiting for it in the mail. I don't know if you've had a chance to start it yet, but I really enjoyed it, and that's why I wanted to do something special for you guys as a bonus, to put together a live stream just to share with you guys what are some of the biggest takeaways that I've gotten from this book and how I'm applying it to my life, but also some of the biggest opportunities that I'm personally pursuing in each aspect of my life. And I want to share with you guys some of those. Some of them I've shared before, but a lot of it I've never shared before until this video. And then also I think it could definitely benefit you guys as well. As you guys know, and especially from reading this book, opportunity is all around us. It's abundant. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways I've gotten from this book, is just really conditioning that in my mind. Right now, we're so blessed because there's a million different opportunities that are available to us. And that's the good thing, that it is so abundant, that if something doesn't work out with one opportunity, it's okay. There's another one coming. And the reality is, with the future, how abundant it truly is going to be, in the sense of just even more opportunities becoming available to us. And so in the world that we live in today, I believe that when you can have a system to be able to evaluate opportunities and take advantage of them, that's how your life really changes. That's how it can really grow beyond extraordinary levels in each aspect of life. And so we always have to be aware of and open to different opportunities that can exist that can help us move our lives forward in each aspect of our life. And then we also need to have a process to be able to evaluate each of these opportunities to know which are the ones that are going to help us get to where we want to go. Which are the opportunities that we should say yes to and dive full in and really be able to take advantage of in our lives. My life, when I look back to how I've been able to create the life that I have today, which I'm so grateful for, is because of opportunities being presented to me that I said yes to. Opportunities coming up. Even the opportunity of an online business. Before in my early 20s and everything, I had no idea what an online business was. I didn't even know that was an opportunity that existed. But it wasn't until I started going through some self-development type stuff and reading different books, and I read the 4-Hour Work Week, and I saw some other successful people. I went to live events and researched online. I realized that this was a true and real opportunity that I decided to say yes to and take advantage of. And looking back, that was one of the most important things that I ever did in my life. Same thing goes for other opportunities for relationship with Tatiana, for example. I mean, that was an opportunity presented that I was able to capitalize on and say yes to. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I obviously have a great relationship with Tatiana, is because I took advantage of those opportunities that are presented. So being able to understand that there's all these opportunities that exist, but knowing how to take the right ones for you that will allow you to bring your life forward. So there's a few things I want to share with you guys here, and then what we're going to do is I'm also going to open it up to Q&A. So if you're live right now, you guys can ask whatever questions that you'd like of me, and I'll do the best that I can to answer them for you. If you're live right now, feel free to post in the chat. Ask me questions there. Anything you'd like me to share or go over with you. My whole outcome here today is I just want to provide value to you. I want to help you as much as I can. I'll share as much as I can on my end, but obviously I can help you a lot more if you share with me whatever questions that you have, and I can do my best to answer them for you. So I've got a few notes here that I wanted to go over. I mentioned the abundance mentality. I think this is a key thing, the fact that there are opportunities everywhere, there's more, they're coming, and you don't need to worry about it as much. I often think, when you're a single person and you might have a certain opportunity about a man or woman that you attract into your life and you really like that person, and oftentimes I see a lot of people when they meet someone they really like, they end up oftentimes sabotaging it because they get too needy, they get too clingy, too weird, or whatever it is. And then often they have such a scarcity mentality around losing that person that they try to hold on and try to control that person. And then oftentimes when you try to control someone, you suffocate them and you actually repel them away. And a lot of that stems from the scarcity mentality of a belief that this is the only opportunity that I have in my life, and that there's not going to be more ones out there. And I always remember there's an old cliche when you're single is that there's plenty of fish in the sea. And I think taking on that mentality for other aspects of your life, understanding that if one thing doesn't work out here with your business, with this financial opportunity, with a relationship, or whatever it is, you still have to have the confidence and the knowing and the faith that there's going to be more opportunities out there that exist. And so if it doesn't work out with this one person, that's okay, because there's another great opportunity right around the corner. Okay, so that abundance mentality, I think that's a big takeaway that I've gotten from this book, especially as the future goes, because things get easier, things get better, more opportunities become available because of technology that's coming in the future. And then with that said, another key component that I've really gotten from this book as well, and it's just the importance of preparation. Anticipating. Because what if I were to say to you tomorrow, or even today, there could be an opportunity presented to you that can change your entire life. It can change your relationship, it can change your financial situation, it can change your lifestyle, it can change your health, your body, your energy. And so if there are opportunities like that coming, doesn't it make sense that we prepare for that now as early as possible, so that when that opportunity does become available, we don't have to miss out on that. We can say yes to those opportunities and really change our life for the better, because often if you miss out, then you're going to miss out on the growth. You're going to miss out on your potential. You're going to miss out on what it could be and what it could do for you. I often use this example as well, that if tomorrow the man or woman of your dreams, imagine if you're single, a man or woman of your dreams will be right there and show up in your life. And you have to be ready for that opportunity. That if the man or woman of your dreams shows up and you only get one chance, doesn't it make sense that you've been preparing as much as you can for that one moment? That one moment when you meet that man or woman and you can attract them into your life, that you can add value to them and be valuable enough that they actually want to be with you? Or that, maybe that man or woman is at a coffee shop or in a certain environment. Don't you want to be prepared so that you have the confidence, the ability, the social skills, so that you can go up and start a conversation with them and be able to begin a new relationship? Well, the same is said for other aspects of your life too. The more that you can prepare and anticipate that these opportunities are coming in your life, then the more that you can take advantage of them. Okay, I often think back of the opportunity that existed. For a lot of people, it wasn't an opportunity, but if you have the right mindset, it is. Back in 2007, 2008, when there was the recession, the stock market crashed. And a lot of people lost a lot of money that day, but there's also a lot of people that prepared for that. They anticipated that that was yet to come. And because all these blue chip companies were dropping, the value of them was still, the potential and the value was still there. And as an investor, if you prepared for that, you could have gotten an opportunity to buy a lot of these blue chip companies and stocks at an incredible discount, and you would have been able to create a lot of wealth during that time if you had the right mindset and you anticipated and prepared for it. And the same thing, I often think about that right now, with the stock market, is I believe there will be another recession that's yet to come. And I want to prepare as much as I can for that. I want to make sure that financially I'm prepared. I want to make sure that I have the resources available. So if there is an opportunity like that to buy at a discount, I can do that. Or there might be opportunities for a course or a training or a trip or an experience, or who knows what it could be. But always being prepared for that, I think that's a key thing. And obviously that requires making sure that you have the resources available, but if you're resourceful, the resources can follow. But still making sure that you have the resources available for opportunities that come up that you can then take advantage of. Making sure that mentally you're prepared, emotionally you're prepared, just making sure that you're ready for what's to come. Because again, if there are opportunities like that exist and you can't take advantage of it, then you're going to limit your growth. You're going to limit your overall experience of life. So always being prepared, I think that's a key thing. Another great thing I got from this book, excuse me, is just really making sure you focus on opportunities in each aspect of your life. Because oftentimes people just focus on business or money, but you got to focus on every other area of your life with an equal amount of importance and value. Whether that be your health, your relationship, even your spiritual life, your spiritual growth, because there's opportunities that exist for each of those aspects. And one thing that I'm actually starting to do now that I've gotten from this book, a way that I'm taking action with it, is I'm actually making a list, like a spreadsheet or a list of each area of my life and all the different opportunities that I want to personally take advantage of in each area of my life that I'm planning on, and being very strategic about it, even mapping out when I'm going to take advantage of that opportunity. So for example, there's a number of self-growth experiences that I want to do for my life that's going to help me grow each area of my life in an incredible way. And what I've done is I'm starting to put those at least on a spreadsheet to say, okay, this is when I'm going to do this. This is when I'm going to go to India and experience this opportunity, or this is when I'm going to do this and utilize that opportunity, and just kind of having a plan for that. I think that's incredibly valuable, kind of having like a list of these opportunities in each area of your life. And then when new opportunities come up, you just plug that in. A new opportunity comes up for your business, you plug that into your spreadsheet. You plug in this new health opportunity there. And it doesn't mean you have to utilize it just yet. Sometimes you can wait. There might be a window of opportunity that shows up, but just knowing that you have a time frame of this is when I'm going to really exercise and go deep on this opportunity that can really impact my life for the better. And then with that said, another thing that I want to share is that I believe that constant growth creates more opportunity. I believe that the more that you're growing in your life, in each aspect of it, what that really does is it reveals new opportunities that become available. So for example, right now as you guys are watching this video, or maybe even other videos that you watched of mine, you might have come to realize new opportunities that are available that you never even knew existed before. For example, maybe you didn't even know about the concept of a morning ritual until you watched one of my videos. Or maybe you didn't know about the opportunity of an online business or selling on Amazon until you watched one of my videos. Or maybe you didn't know about sexual attraction and polarity and masculine, feminine energy until you watched a video of mine. Because when you're growing, what it does is it opens up new doors, opens up new opportunities. Like I said before, when I was young, I didn't even know that you could build an online business. I didn't even know that you could even improve yourself, in fact. But it wasn't until I got exposed. When I was 17 years old, I got exposed to self-development. And it blew my mind because I never even knew that existed before. And then all of a sudden, I saw these new opportunities that came up from that. New opportunities of a new direction that I could go in my life, new ways that I could grow and improve myself. And then new opportunities started presenting themselves to me that were then realizing that I could then make money online. By reading the 4-Hour Work Week, it opened up a new opportunity that I never knew existed before. The opportunity of even outsourcing different parts of my life or different tasks to people in the Philippines or India or different parts of the world inexpensively, so I can create more freedom for myself. Those are opportunities I never even knew existed until I started growing and going deeper and deeper with it. And I think that's an important thing to understand, is that the more you keep growing in your life, the more it reveals more opportunities. Even to this day, a few months ago, I went to San Diego with my team. We went to an event called the Traffic and Conversion Summit. And I've been to that event now 3 or 4 times. It's a big industry-wide event for online marketing that's hosted every year. And at that event, I'm sitting there taking notes and listening to different speakers. I'm meeting all these awesome people. And then nonstop, all these opportunities are being presented that I didn't even know existed before. Someone shares about Facebook Messenger bots and using ManyChat and how that can grow your business. And I'm like, wow, that's a great opportunity, right? I didn't know it before until I went to this event and put myself in this environment where I'm getting exposed to these new ideas and opportunities. So that's just an example. I just believe, guys, you have to always be growing. There's all these different opportunities existing that exist that you're not even aware of yet. And it's not until you go deeper and deeper with it that you discover these opportunities. And once you do discover them, you're like, man, I wish that I knew this earlier. I wish that I took advantage of this opportunity much sooner in my life. And so I think always being growing is just a very, very important thing. You can never just be stagnant. You can never stop growing. Just keep growing. And of course, once you have a lot of different opportunities, you got to learn how to evaluate them. So I believe that when it comes to decision making and deciding on different opportunities in your life, what it comes down to is knowing what your vision and values are. Okay, vision and values. So first you got to know your vision. What is it that you really want for your life? What is the vision that you have for yourself, your life, your family, your lifestyle? Because once you know what that is, you get very clear on it, and you even define it, and you write it out, and you get your vision board, and you visualize and you see it. Then when opportunities are presented, you want to ask yourself the question, is this opportunity going to bring me closer towards what I want? Or is it going to bring me closer away? Is it aligned with what I want? Is it going to help me bring me to where I want to go? That's the first thing that I often look at when it comes to these opportunities that show up. For example, if you want to have a certain lifestyle of financial abundance and you want to be able to travel the world and have total freedom, if you want to be able to make money while you sleep and have passive income and maybe retire early, and you want to maybe have sports cars, and maybe that's the kind of lifestyle that you want, great. Then if there's opportunities that show up for that, you have to evaluate, is this going to bring me closer towards that? Because I see a lot of people, if that's what you want, maybe then going to university isn't necessarily going to bring you there. Maybe there's a different path. Maybe there's different opportunities that you then have to evaluate and decide upon that are more suited to helping you to get to where you want to go, right? To help you create that vision, the lifestyle that you have for yourself. Okay, and the same thing goes, whenever I evaluate things, I said, okay, well, I have this or this opportunity. Again, is this going to bring me closer? Is this going to help me create more of what I want in my life? That's the first thing. Second thing is the values. The values are the emotional states that are important to you in your life, the ones that you want to move towards. So for example, we all value probably the same things. Like we all value happiness, we all value success, or we might all value family or love or connection or travel or freedom. We might all value the same things, but we all have a different hierarchy of what's most important to us that we value. So for example, one person, they might value freedom in a high level, and another person might not. Another person doesn't really care that much for freedom. They value security much more, right? And so based on those values, you're going to make totally different decisions for your life. If you value freedom, and there's an opportunity that can help you have more freedom in your life, then you'll take advantage of that. But if you really value security, then maybe you're not going to take that same opportunity, because maybe for you much rather have a more secure life, and there's maybe too much risk associated with that. So knowing what your values are is key, but more importantly, being able to identify what do my values need to be in order for me to create this vision, this life that I want. Because sometimes you might have certain values, but they actually might be holding you back from utilizing different opportunities that show up. For example, if you have the value of, security is very important for you up on your list, then you're not going to maybe take certain risks that can allow you to create a certain lifestyle that you want. Because in order to take those risks and utilize those opportunities, security might not have to be one of the top things for you, because you might have to make certain decisions that are a little bit more risky, right? And so that's where you have to really evaluate your values. And, I wish I could go deeper into this, but if you want to go deeper into this, Tony Robbins has a whole event and seminar that goes really deep called Date with Destiny, and it's all about your values. And it's like we go 3 days just on values at that event and helping to rearrange them based on which are the most important values you need to have in order to create the life that you want, because we have a lot of those values in conflict. So what I would say is just knowing what your values need to be and reevaluating them, and being able to then, when opportunities come up, ask yourself, is this opportunity in alignment with my values? Okay, is this in alignment with the values that I have, or the values that I want to have in my life, that again will help me get to where I want to go? So I found that's also a key thing that I want to share. I also try to evaluate the pros and cons of opportunities, because every opportunity has risks associated with it. Life itself is inherently risky. Driving your car is risky. Walking out on the street is risky. You never know what could happen. At any moment someone could hit you with a car, or something horrible could happen. So there is a risk to everything in life. And I think understanding that, but you always have to make sure that the upside is much greater than the risk. So on deciding an opportunity, you look at, okay, what is all the benefit? What is all the pros? What's the upside that can come from making this decision and taking advantage of this opportunity? Okay, well, maybe the upside is you can make more money, you can create a certain lifestyle, you can have more freedom, you can travel the world, you can give more, you can have less stress in your life, you're gonna be a lot happier, you're gonna be able to grow more, all the different upside. But then you also gotta look at the cons, the downside. What is gonna be that? What is gonna be the risk? Well, maybe you're gonna have to put in work or time or money, or there's a risk of losing money or time or failure, or who knows what, right? Same thing, if there's a relationship, you got to decide, okay, the potential of this, the upside is love and passion and intimacy and a soulmate and a family and happiness and adventure and experience. But there's also a risk to that. The risk is, what if they break your heart? There could be, they could lie to you, they could cheat on you, they could hurt your feelings. There's some negatives that can come from that too. And there's never going to be anything that has no risk. And so what I've learned is, with each opportunity, trying to mitigate the risk, trying to lower the risk in whatever way that you can. So if it's a business opportunity, looking at, okay, here's the upside, but here's the downside. How can I mitigate that? How can I, if there's a downside of, okay, if I lose money, how can I make sure that, number one, it never even comes to that point where I lose money? Okay, so I have protocols in place to prevent that. So for example, maybe you make sure that you get a coach, you get a mentor, you get a training, someone to guide you that helps lower the risk of failure, right? That helps lower the risk that you lose money, that you lose time. Maybe there's certain guarantees involved. Maybe, if you invest in a bunch of inventory and then you can't sell it, and that's the risk, maybe you can recoup back your money just by selling it at cost, right? So looking at all the different ways you can mitigate the risk and lessen it as much as you can, that I found is a key thing. So even, for example, investment opportunities, you might have an opportunity to invest in something. Also looking at, okay, there's a downside here that I could lose money. First, how can I make sure that that doesn't happen? But if it did happen, here's what I could then do to help to mitigate that. Maybe I could diversify a little bit better. Maybe I could have a sell order set up, that if it reaches a certain amount that I sell it. Or maybe, I just don't have all my eggs in one basket. Just looking at all the ways you can mitigate that, I think that's a key thing as well. I also believe that when I look at opportunities that exist, the more resources you have, the more that you can take advantage of opportunities. Because I see a lot of people, they're presented with so many opportunities, but they can't take advantage of it. They have to miss out because they don't have the financial means. And one of my goals always, and what I've often recommended for people, is one of the first areas of life that's worth getting sorted and resolved is financially. Because financially, when you're in an abundant situation, you can take advantage of way more opportunities than you ever could if you didn't have money. For me, I want the max experience of life. I think we're so blessed to be alive, and there's so many opportunities that exist, and there's so much growth and happiness and levels of everything that we have yet to experience. But you can experience, you're going to be limited in your experience and you're taking advantage of things if you don't have the financial means to. So for example, if I shared with you an opportunity that could totally transform your mind, like it can actually increase your levels of IQ. It's the equivalence of 20 years of meditation of you doing this. It's something that can resolve a lot of emotional trauma and things that you're not even aware of that are holding you back right now in your life subconsciously. And I shared with you this opportunity that could totally transform your entire life, like seriously. And this opportunity, though, it costs $15,000. Well, if you don't have the financial means to take advantage of that, you're going to be missing out on all of what that can provide for you. And there's many other things that I could probably share with you for your health, for your relationships, for your happiness, your spiritual life, every aspect that you can fast track it and be able to utilize it when you have the financial means to do so. So I think that money is something that I perceive as a tool that can allow us to better take advantage of opportunities that arise. And that's why I believe it's important for everybody to make sure that you have that financial independence and abundance, because it is going to allow you to grow your life that much further. I see time and time again a lot of people that they might be going through a hard time in their relationship, and they can solve some of those problems by having financial means. You can hire relationship coaches and counselors and therapists and go to events. There's a lot that you could do to heal and have a great relationship when you have the money to do so. So that should always kind of be a focus, I believe, at least short term, to be able to create that. Because when you do have that, guys, I just think that you can accelerate each area of your life that much faster, take advantage more of these opportunities that arise, and you don't have to miss out on a lot of the different things that could potentially create a much better life for yourself. So let me share with you guys some of the opportunities. I'll go through a few of these for you. And if you're just joining in, I see a bunch of questions that you guys have. Thank you so much. I'll do the best I can to answer them for you. If you're just joining in now, feel free to post some questions. I'll make sure I get to that for you guys as well. I just want to share a few more things. Some of the opportunities in each area of, at least some of the biggest areas of life that I want to share that I'm personally pursuing, and I think are also hot opportunities for you as well. So first is business. I believe that one of the greatest opportunities that we have is an online business. The fact that we're born in the day and time where the internet has newly been invented and is still in its infancy and is providing opportunities that never existed before. The opportunity of anyone from anywhere in the world being able to start a business and be able to make money online globally. And the reality is, starting a business today is much cheaper than it's ever been before. I mean, if you look at our parents and our grandparents, they didn't have this opportunity called the internet. When they wanted to start a business, if they wanted to open up a store on the street, a retail store or a warehouse or whatever it is, it required office space, it required the physical location and employees, and it required a big investment to get started with that. And you're limited in with that business because you're only limited to the neighborhood or the local city that you might have that business be available in. But now, because of the internet, you can have an online website that doesn't even need any employees, or you could leverage something like Amazon that already has the website and the customers, and you can start very inexpensively. So the benefits that obviously an online business provides, and as you guys know, I've shared a lot of it on my channel in my content, but I think that's probably one of the greatest opportunities that's ever existed for us. And I think that everyone should take advantage of that in some way, shape, or form, because the reality is also that the world is changing so fast that if you don't adapt to it, you get left behind too. So oftentimes people think, well, I'm not going to take advantage of opportunity, right? I'm just happy where I'm at. But the problem is that the world changes. If you're a truck driver and you're not taking advantage of new opportunities and you're not anticipating, you're not adapting, you're not flexible, then what's going to happen when you lose your job, when self-driving cars takes over and they no longer need to hire someone to drive a truck, because now they can have a robot do it, and that robot can drive that vehicle 24 hours a day, doesn't take break, there's no unions involved with it, and it's a lot more cost effective. What are you going to do when that happens, right? So that's why you have to be able to adapt and be flexible to opportunities, because there's a lot of people that will end up losing their jobs because of technology, because of robots, because of what's coming. And so the more you can prepare, I think the better. But I think just online business in general is one of the hottest opportunities. Beyond that though, specifically, I think whether it's even just a business, even just having an online career, a job. I mean, today anybody can work from home. It's not that hard because there's a lot of jobs that exist online today too. You could work for tons of companies that are hiring people that have certain skill sets that could allow you to be able to quit your job that you might dislike and at least work online and have the freedom that can provide that for you, and also learn skills from that too. So for example, some opportunities that exist today would be being a freelancer, where maybe you could develop the skills of social media marketing, or maybe you learn pay-per-click marketing, or maybe you learn some search engine optimization, or maybe you learn just how to write, or maybe you learn about customer support, and all of a sudden you can now get a job working from home, providing this, for another company, and then they pay you, right? Just like any other job, but at least this is a job that you can work from home and you can make a great amount of income from just by being a freelancer online. And I don't understand why a lot of people don't do that more, because there's so many opportunities that exist today from that. Oftentimes people, they might buy courses or trainings, which are great to build your own business, but a lot of people don't realize the skills that they're learning, you can actually make money with those skills just by being a freelancer. For example, if you have been to my Kindle publishing course, let's say K-Money Mastery, and you learn how to publish books on Amazon, that's a valuable skill. You can go to websites like Upwork.com or Elance.com, or you could even approach different people out there and say, hey, listen, I have this skill. I can provide this as a service for you, and other people can hire you for that, just for you to be able to publish their book for them. They'll pay you for that, right? Or if you've got experience, you go through an Amazon training, you learn how to set up Amazon listings and launch products. There's a lot of companies that need that as help. There's a big demand because Amazon is growing, and tons of companies out there, they're not yet on Amazon, that you could then approach, or you could list yourself somewhere and apply for different jobs. But you could provide that as a service, and you can make money just by working for other people, doing certain jobs based on the skills you've learned and cultivated. So those are all the additional ways that I would try to take advantage of the internet to be able to make money from, whether it's part-time, just on the side, you want to make some extra money, but also to be able to replace your income and be able to quit your job as well. So there's a lot of opportunities there. Obviously right now I think Amazon is the hottest opportunity because Amazon is one of the biggest companies in the world. They're growing massively, and it's one of those opportunities that Amazon does so much for you that the sooner that you get in, the better. The sooner that you take advantage of opportunities like this, the more easier it often is, and the more that you can prosper from it. So Amazon is big because there's hundreds of millions of customers that Amazon already has. People already have trust with Amazon. They're buying products there. They make it available for anyone to be able to sell products on Amazon or publish books on Amazon. And so it's just a relatively simple opportunity that people can take advantage of, that they can prosper very well with. But beyond that, you want to start with something like Amazon, but be able to build your own brand and build something bigger than that. But right now, I'd say Amazon is one of the hottest opportunities for people in terms of an online business. I want to share with you guys a little bit about investing too. This is also something I've been fairly active with. Right now, the markets are fairly volatile. There's been a bit of a correction that's occurred, and especially with some trade war concerns right now with the U.S. and places like China, for example, that has created a lot of volatility. And with that, I believe it actually becomes a great opportunity to buy. So usually, I'm a big fan of Sir John Templeton, who is one of the greatest investors of all time. And he said that oftentimes people can prosper the most when there's times of maximum pessimism. So when people are pessimistic, when people are selling, oftentimes that's the best time for you to buy, the best time for you to take advantage of that. And what I often look for is I look for companies that I can invest in that have the potential, that have the growth. They're in an industry or a sector that has a lot of opportunity and potential to grow from. But right now, just based on the markets, short term, it's volatile and it's a good opportunity to buy, but long term, it's going to be a great investment. So I always like to try to make long-term investments, usually 5, 10 years out, even beyond that. And so, for example, just a few weeks ago, the market was really down with a lot of the tech stocks. So companies like Amazon, companies like Netflix and Tesla and Facebook, obviously, the big issue that they had, their stock plummeted. Shopify, all these different tech companies, even Salesforce and Adobe and Microsoft, these companies, they were down. And for me, I see huge opportunity that's there for Amazon and Facebook and all these companies. So I bought a lot of stock. And even though it might be a little bit rocky short term, I know that long term, I believe it's going to continue to grow. So that's kind of things that I look for. Is I'm not looking oftentimes in things that are too risky. I do have a time and place for that, but for the most part, I really enjoy investing in companies that have a huge potential for growth, but just right now there's volatility or uncertainty in the markets. I can take advantage of it. Excuse me. And then of course I believe that there will be more corrections in the future and also recessions too. So I like to make sure that I have the cash reserve available. So when opportunities do come up, I can then buy some of those stocks at a much cheaper price. Right now I also have bought a lot of cannabis stocks because right now cannabis and marijuana is becoming legalized in Canada for recreational use and also in California too. There have been some delays and there's still some obviously risk associated with these types of stocks. And for me, I'm actually down on all of them as well. But I always, like I said, I'm making a long-term speculation and investment. And long-term, in terms of 5 years, 10 years from now, I believe that it's going to be a huge industry, a huge sector, and there's a lot of opportunity there for us. So that's things that I personally invest in, cannabis stocks, and then also cryptocurrency too. Cryptocurrency, I believe we're still at the infancy of. There's a lot of potential moving forward with it. I think it'll be up and down, rocky, short term, of course, in a matter of years. But again, long term, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I believe it's going to be a part of our lives. So things like that I like to try to make sure that I can take early advantage of. And again, there is some risk, of course, associated to it, but I try to mitigate the risk. I try to make sure that I don't have all my eggs in that basket. I diversify across different sectors. And again, it is a risk. It cannot work out at all. It can be totally wrong, but the upside outweighs the downside. And so that's kind of usually how I like to look at things. A few more things I'll share with you guys in terms of taxes. Right now for me, I mentioned before that I'm moving to Panama actually at the end of May with Tatiana, and we're actually becoming residents there. We're giving up our residency in Canada. And one of the biggest benefits, at least for having an online business, is the freedom that it provides, but also there's a lot of incredible tax advantages because I don't need to have a corporation in Canada, for example, where I get taxed a lot. I can instead pursue tax-friendly jurisdictions like Singapore or Hong Kong, where I can change my residency to live somewhere else. And really what an online business has provided is a different lifestyle where, for example, Tatiana and I, we actually want to live in different cities and travel the world for most of the year. And so with that, there comes a lot of tax advantages that you can save a lot of money on. It does depend where you live, and obviously there's a lot of steps to that, and you have to be willing to make some of those changes. But Right now for us, we're moving to Panama, becoming a non-resident of Canada. We still keep our Canadian citizenship and passport though, and we're also setting up a corporation, either Singapore or Hong Kong, which actually both have one of the best banking systems in the world, and great for international investing, and also has a much friendlier tax system that can allow us to benefit and save a lot of money too. In terms of relationships, one thing that Tatiana have been pursuing and going a lot deeper with has been our study of Tantra. And we've actually been working with a Tantra coach for the last few weeks now. We've been to Tantra retreats and events before, but this has been amazing. And if you're in a relationship, or if you're not, it is something worth going into, because when you understand, first of all, just in terms of the sex side of Tantra, which is not really what all Tantra is about, but when you learn how you can have better intimacy with your partner, you can feel more connected to them, but also you can actually have much deeper pleasure and sexual experiences, different types of orgasms. It will open up your mind to different possibilities and really blow your mind. For example, learning how to be multi-orgasmic as a man and how to separate ejaculation from orgasm is pretty powerful when you learn that. When you learn that you actually, oftentimes, when you can have orgasms without ejaculating, and you can actually keep your life force, because that's how Taoists and Buddhists and all that, they view when you ejaculate, you're losing some of your life energy. And learning how to use that more and channel the sexual energy that we all have and channel it in different parts of ourselves and our body, that's powerful. When you're a female and you understand the different types of orgasms that you can have, from clitoral to G-spot to cervix orgasms, and the different depths, and going deeper with that, that's a life-changing thing that so many people don't even know about, that opportunities exist there that can totally change your experience of sex and your entire relationship. So those are things like, for me, I want to have the max experience and grow in each area of my life. And Tantra for us has been so incredible, taking it to a whole new level. So those are kind of opportunities that we're pursuing right now in terms of our relationship. But Tantra is even just more about more energy, more love, more presence in your life. It's more about just being happier, more at peace, being just more connected to yourself and your creator and your partner. So I've been pursuing that, as well as the work of David Deida. David Deida is great for both men and women. He's got a lot of great books. Great book for men is The Way of the Superior Man. And I've actually been waiting to do a workshop with David Deida. He's not doing any events right now, but I want to have the chance to be able to work with him and attend an event, but that's kind of what's coming in the future. And I'll share a few more things with you guys, and then I'll open it up to your guys' questions. But obviously health has to be a big focus too. And again, anticipating, preparing, not to say that you might have cancer or heart disease or diabetes or something that could come, but the more you can prepare now, the better. There's opportunities available for our health. And that's why I think also when you have the financial abundance that I was talking about, it can allow you to grow your relationship, but also your health, because you have the financial means to hire coaches and trainers and the best technologies that can allow you to amplify those areas of your life. So when it comes to health, I've really been big on testing and utilizing technology to get tests done in my body so I can find out exactly what's going on, what's going well, but also what's not going well. What are the things that if I don't address them now and I neglect it, it's going to turn into a much greater problem sometime in the future. I never want that to happen. So that's why I pursue as much as I can, almost like a preventative measure, being proactive about how I can best optimize and utilize my health, so I don't have to, one day go to the doctor and find out that I have cancer or heart disease or a serious condition. So you got to understand your health is your wealth. That's really the most important thing, at least for me, that I value. So getting testing done, I'm always going to different types of naturopaths and learning from other people with that. And again, the more that you grow, as I said, it reveals more opportunities for you. So for example, I didn't even know that having metal toxicity was something that I would even be affected by. But it wasn't until I learned about that and then I got tested for it and developed a new awareness of that now there's new opportunities that exist for me to resolve that in my body and make certain changes in my life so that doesn't lead to a much greater problem sometime in the future, right? So testing for me has been really big. I've also been going a lot deeper into hormone optimization. So I've been dealing with low testosterone levels, and so looking at all the different ways that I can best optimize that and boost my test levels, that's been big for me as well. You know, I shared on my YouTube channel the Human Garage, which is open up new doors of opportunities. I'm better aligning my body, my mind, and everything, and just making sure my body's strong. A great documentary too that's really powerful. Excuse me. There's a documentary called Heal. Okay, Heal, Heal. Recommend it for everyone. It really goes into how your mind and your beliefs and your spiritual life affect your health. The fact, you know, just kind of understanding there's a lot of people that have been told, you know, they only have a certain % chance to live, and a lot of the factors they've used to heal themselves and through spontaneous remissions and miracles that often can occur have been because of their mindset. And it will really open up a lot of those things for you, just to know that if anything does happen to your health, or, you know, even right now, just making sure your mindset, your beliefs are good, in a good place, because stress, you can do everything right. You could be eating the right foods, you could be exercising, all that sort of stuff, and be in great health. But if you don't eliminate things like stress or fear or negative beliefs or anxiety, often that's going to lead to some health problems down the road. And so just really understanding and healing yourself, your mindset, your emotions, that's going to make a huge difference on your health. So I do recommend that documentary. It's great. Really helped me out a lot. In terms of emotions and spirituality and mindset, I did mention to you guys there's a $15,000 experience that's actually called Bio Cybernaut. So Bio, B-I-O, Cyber, C-Y-B-E-R, Naut, N-A-U-T, Bio Cybernaut. This is something that I've got a number of friends that have pursued, and it's on my list right now as well. But it's basically doing neurofeedback training that has now been a lot of studies to prove that it boosts your levels of IQ by, I think, like 10 or 20 points. And it's the equivalent of something like 20 years of meditation, like insane benefits to it. A lot of the top leaders of the world have been through this experience as well, including people like Tony Robbins and Dave Asprey and some of the big names out there. So it's pretty powerful, and it is $15,000 to $20,000. It's expensive, but again, those are opportunities of why you want to be able to make sure that you're financially abundant, so that you can take advantage of those types of things that can dramatically increase your quality of life. You know, even experiences, you know, spiritual types of experiences and opportunities that I'm pursuing, like going deeper with ayahuasca, which is known as the spirit medicine. I've done it once before, but going deeper with that, and you can learn more about ayahuasca if you'd like, but you know, being able to use different things like that can allow me to open my heart more, grow more spiritually, even from meditation retreats like Vipassana, going on a 10-day silent meditation retreat and growing more spiritually, and that component as well. Even going to India, you know, is on my list to be able to go to Oneness University, which is a very huge movement, and they have a big ashram there, but it can allow you to go deeper with what they do. Their different oneness blessings, which are pretty powerful experiences. But there's a lot of spiritual growth to experience as well, that can just allow you to become more awakened, more enlightened, more loving, more at peace, more happy in your life. And so those are some of the biggest things I'm pursuing. But let me open it up to some questions, guys, because I want to make sure I provide as much value to you guys as possible. And I can talk more and more, but I want to make sure that I can tailor this more to you guys and your needs and how I can best serve you guys in your life. So if you guys have questions, feel free to post them in the chat. I'll do the best I can to answer them for you. So let me dive into this. I'll try to start from the beginning. And thank you guys for joining. I see all that are joining in from all different parts of the world. Thank you guys. So someone asked, why are you moving to Panama? So I'm moving to Panama for tax purposes. Long term, I want to live in the US. I want to live in California. That's where Tatiana and I want to settle down and start a family. But during that time frame, it just doesn't make sense for us to still stay in Canada and pay taxes here when we don't need to, when we're going to be traveling the world anyways. Also, the sooner leaving Canada, the better, because there's actually departure tax that you have to pay when you leave Canada and give up your residency. So Panama is great because it's the most developed and westernized part of Central America. It's got a great banking system. There's no taxes on any foreign income. So any money that I make outside of Panama, I pay no taxes on it. And also there's only a small requirement to keep your residency there, which is that you just have to be there 1 day every 2 years, right? So other places like Puerto Rico, for example, you actually have to live there 6 months of the year. Panama, there's only, you can be a resident there, pay taxes there, which would be nothing, but I only have to be there for 1 day every 2 years. So there's not much of a requirement to actually remain a resident there. So Panama is a great place like that. And I've got a number of friends that live there too. So that's why we're pursuing Panama. There's just a lot of tax advantages, and also for the lifestyle that we want to live. It's gonna provide for us in a great way. How do you take steps despite fear? I was part of ASM7, and I'm stuck on product research and choosing a brand. Really, the only way to overcome fear is to feel the fear and do it anyways. You got to look at what's the worst that's going to happen. The worst that's going to happen is that, and again, you try to mitigate the risk. The worst that happens, you pick a product and you start selling it, and maybe the worst that happens is it doesn't sell and you don't make that much money from it. Well, if that's the case, well, maybe you can mitigate that risk. Maybe you can start with a lower amount of inventory and not invest that much with it. Maybe you could mitigate the risk just by putting in a lot of extra work. Maybe that will motivate you even further, or maybe you can, if it's not selling, just lower the price to a certain amount that you can at least recoup back your investment and your inventory. So often when you look at the things that you're afraid of and you come up with solutions for each of those things you're fearful of, it becomes not that scary. For example, what I do is make a list. What are all the things holding you back? And what's the solution you have for each of them? If this happens or that happens, what are you going to do to solve it? And then ultimately what I believe, at least what helps me to overcome fear, is you got to understand that everyone is afraid, but it's how you use fear. You want to use fear, not have fear use you. So what would you rather be more afraid of? Would you rather be more afraid of going for it and failing? Or would you be more afraid of staying where you are and settling in your life and not living the life that you're truly destined for? That should scare you a whole lot more. For me, one of the reasons why I take the chances and the risks that I do in my business, because I know that the alternative is not acceptable to me. I know that, I'm more afraid of what my life will be like if I don't take action. I'm terrified if I don't keep taking action, that it's going to lead to me being broke and struggling in my life. And I've been there. I never want to go there again. I know if I don't do my rituals every day and I don't keep growing, then I'm terrified of being depressed. I'm terrified, of getting a divorce. My parents went through that. I never want to go through that. So that's why I work so hard on my relationship to make it as great as it can be, because I never want to have to deal with the pain of going through a divorce or a bankruptcy or losing money or working a job that I hate or whatever that might be. The pain of missing out, the pain of not being the best that I can have or experiencing, that for me is way more painful than going for it. So it's not until you have that pain, the consequence of not doing it, far greater than the consequence of doing it. And then when you realize, man, I have to do this, because if I don't, life is going to stay the same. I'm still going to struggle. Then obviously you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to get to where you want to go. I'm terrified of ever having cancer or heart disease, and that's why I'm so proactive with my health. And hopefully I never have it one day. But that's what allows me to really take good care of my health and my well-being. Now, if fear is still a big issue for you, get a coach. Get someone that can help you work through that, because we all have different barriers and obstacles, but if something is paralyzing you and immobilizing you, then I believe that you need some help with that. You need someone that you can have work with you, maybe a life coach that can work with some of these fears and help make sure you take action and they keep you accountable. I think that could be something that can help you a lot, because I know for me too, I had fear actually a few years ago in my business when it came to hiring people. And that was a big mental block that I had. And I was afraid to invest in hiring someone. What if it doesn't work out? What if they steal from me, or who knows what? And especially, it was more hiring people like managers in my business. And the way that I overcame that was I hired a coach that helped me work through that. And he pushed me to overcome that fear. And that made a huge difference for me. I remember when I did a fitness competition for the first time, I was terrified of that. But because I had a coach, he was helping me push through that and making sure that I was on track to do this fitness competition, which gave me a lot of confidence, and it, ended up working out great. So getting coaches can definitely make a difference to help you push through some of those barriers. What was the process that you went through to decide on Singapore and Panama, and what specifically drew you to those places? So for me, it was actually based on having a lot of friends that have already done it. So I have a lot of friends that have gone offshore, and this is one thing that I've cultivated over years, because I've now networked a lot, and I've been to a lot of different masterminds, and I've got a lot of successful people in my life and people that are further ahead than myself. And that was always the first step. And then what that really did is it opened up these opportunities, because here I'm at a mastermind with 50 other entrepreneurs, and I hear them share what they're doing, and they've got more expertise than myself, and that opened up new opportunities for me that I never thought of much before. So that was a big difference for me. And then also having a chance to talk to them, find out what they did, why they did it, and they've already paved the way ahead for me. So I was able to identify, okay, well, Panama and Singapore, other people have done that. And then what I did from there was myself and my accountant, what we decided to do was we started getting contacts for lawyers and accountants in Panama, lawyers and accountants in Singapore and Hong Kong, etc., and doing calls with them. So it does get very expensive doing this, obviously, because you got to pay lawyer fees and all that sort of stuff. But obviously, in my position, it made sense to. But what we did was we started finding out everything we needed to know about that. And then we had a few of these different locations. I did more research online and through friends and everything, just to find what are the best options. Okay, now let's go deeper with it and find out the best strategy and plan for me, and have all the information so that we can best decide on it. So that's kind of what the process was and how we decided to do that. And then it's also useful to hire. What I've learned, it does get expensive, but it's worth it, especially if you're in a more complex situation like myself. If you don't have much assets, it can be a lot easier to do. But for me, it has a huge consequence of millions of dollars. So I got to make sure I do everything properly, and I get second opinions. But I start to hire other lawyers too, just to review what our plan is, to look for any weaknesses in it, any blind spots that we might not have considered or gone over. And that has helped us a lot too, just to have more confidence and certainty with what we're doing. Do you have a list of the most beneficial seminars or conferences or events, or some websites to find them? I don't have a list. I have a list of experiences that I want to experience in the future, but I've never created a list of all the different ones that I've been through. I mean, everything that I've shared, the resource page, if you go to projectlifemaster.com/resources, I share tons of resources that have helped my life there. And I've also shared throughout my videos and content, but I don't have a go-to list of seminars or events to share with you. Really all those things kind of come the deeper that you go into these things. You meet people, you go to one event, you develop friendships, you go to whatever it is, and then you get referred to all these different things. You just go deeper and deeper with it as time goes on. So that's usually how I have made my list of events that I want to go to or experiences, is just through friends, seeing things online, talking to people, going to an event, just opening up all these doors. And whenever there's something like that, I make a list of it. If it's books, for example, I always buy the books. I usually have them on my Kindle. And even though I don't have a chance to read them yet, I still buy all these books because I know that I'm going to read them eventually and I don't want to forget them. So I think that's something that will come as time goes on as well. What do you think about a vision video? I know about a vision board, but what do you think about a vision video? I've actually done some vision videos on my YouTube channel, but also inside the Life Mastery Accelerator. So I share how to create your vision for your life and I walk people through that process. So I've already done a few videos like that. How did most of us miss Bitcoin in 2011, and how do we know when the next big thing will come up? Well, I think a lot of people, they didn't miss it. They missed it because they just weren't aware of it. They were aware of it, they didn't know much about it, and then oftentimes once something becomes more at the forefront and more people start talking about it and it becomes more mainstream, that's when more people are aware of it and to take advantage of it. I think with opportunities, you don't necessarily need to take advantage of them at the early phase. When you get into something earlier, there's more upside, of course, but there's also usually more risk. So Bitcoin in 2011, even if I knew about it, I'm not even sure if I would have taken advantage of it, at the time. I think I would have if I had the financial abundance at that stage of my life and I was more into investing, and I would have said, okay, you know what? There's a lot of upside here. There's also a lot of risk, and I'll still put in some amount and I can mitigate the risk because I'm okay if I lose that money. It's not that big of a deal for me. So that's also what kind of financial abundance can help you be able to do, is to diversify your money and invest in different things like that. But even then, finding out about Bitcoin in 2018 is still a great opportunity, because even though it's gone up a lot, it's still, you got to look at the big picture. You got to look long term. A lot of people are so short-sighted with their decisions that they make. They're looking at their decision and they're looking at it over the course of a month from now or 6 months or a year from now. When I make decisions, I'm looking at the upside 5, 10 years, 20 years from now, right? Because for me, the decisions that I make, the opportunities I pursued when I was 18 years old, 19, 20 years old, I went to seminars, I went to events, I learned all these different things. I see the benefit of that today in my life, and I'm going to see more of that benefit 20 years from now, 30 years from now. So that's what I look at, is what's really the long-term upside of this. And I think with cryptocurrency, it's going to be a great upside still that's yet to come, because it's still in the infancy. The same thing goes with Amazon. Yeah, I wish that everyone got into Amazon 10 years ago, right? But they often say that the best time to have planted a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now, today. So all you can do is, instead of worrying about and like, oh, I missed out on opportunities, I never worry about that at all. I focus on, like, the past is already over and done with, right? All you can focus on control is what you do now, today. So for me, that's how I judge things. I'm like, you know what? I don't beat myself up because I missed this or that. I learned from that. How can I make sure the opportunity comes up again? I can utilize it, take advantage of it, but otherwise I'm going to take advantage of it now, today, so I don't have to continue to go on missing out on this and have that feeling of regret. So the sooner the better, yes, but the next best time is just right now, today, to utilize some of them. Okay, so let's take a few more questions here. Let's see. When do you think the self-driving industry will arrive? My prediction, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of arriving now. I know Tesla is a little bit of a setback because Tesla had a car that got into an accident, a self-driving car, but I think in a matter of a few years, the best people to go to for that is Peter Diamandis and Ray Kurzweil. They're futurists, and they have great books that can share some of that. But Peter Diamandis has got a great book called Abundance and Bold, and I think he's got another one too. I forget the name, but they make a lot of predictions of when all these different things of technology are going to be happening in the future, and the prediction of the date of that. But I believe within the next 5 years, it's going to be a fairly common type thing. Who are the most impressive, lesser-known teachers for opportunity seeking? I'm not sure what you mean by opportunity seeking, but I'm not sure exactly what you mean exactly. So if there's more clarity you can provide to that question, that will definitely help. If you were to train someone for 4 weeks for an opportunity competition and had $1 million on the line, what would the training look like? What if it was for 8 weeks? I don't think there needs to be an opportunity competition. I mean, really the key things is knowing what your vision, your values are, and utilizing opportunities, taking advantage of them, being resourceful. There's a lot of times opportunities show up, and part of it is finding a way to take advantage of it. A lot of it is just mindset, the abundance, going for it, taking action when opportunities are presented. Like I said at the beginning of this, I could show you this opportunity right here that could change your life today or tomorrow, but it's not going to change your life unless you actually take advantage of it. So part of it is just learning how to go for things. Even if there is risk, even if it doesn't work out, still go for it, because going for it is what's going to lead you to what you want, and not going for it is going to keep you stuck. Right? I mean, if there can be an incredible man or woman that is there available for you and they show up in your life, are you going to not go for it because you don't want to get rejected, you don't want to get hurt, you don't want to get your heart broken, or there's a chance that they could lie to you or cheat on you or who knows what? Or are you going to go for it anyway in spite of that risk and accept that there is a chance of that, but you're going to go for it because it's much better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all. It's much better to have gone for it and have no regrets than regret missing out on that amazing potential relationship that could have existed. So that's kind of, I think, what the biggest thing is a lot of people, they don't go for and take these opportunities enough, and so therefore they don't really progress in their lives. They stay stuck. And at a certain point, you have to get out of the analysis paralysis. You got to trust. You got to go for it. And it might not work out, it might fail, but at least you went for it. You learn and you grow from that. And then there's new opportunities that come up, and the more opportunities you take advantage of, all you need is one that will change your entire life. I remember Mark Cuban said that is all you need is just that one thing that worked, right? And it might require you trying a lot of different things, but when you find that one thing, your whole life transforms to a whole new level. So that's kind of, I think, the biggest thing of the competition is who can best effectively utilize opportunity the best way and actually do something with it. Because the opportunity doesn't do anything for you unless you do something with it. Aaron says, what happened with your plans of residency in the United States? So Aaron, that's the plan that will be about 2 to 3 years from now, after Tatiana and I are done traveling and living in Panama and all that. And that's when we're ready to buy a house, settle down, start a family, have kids and everything. That's when we're going to immigrate to the U.S. Let's see. What are your favorite instructional books or resources on the subject of opportunity? If people had to teach themselves, right here. This is the book on the opportunity. This is the only book that I know of that really dives deep just into opportunity. What are the key principles for better, more consistent health? And what are the physical health versus mental health? I think there's obviously a ton of different principles when it comes to health. But everything from obviously sleep and optimizing that. You're going to spend a third of your life sleeping, so you got to make sure you optimize it, especially the deep sleep. That's why I use the Oura Ring here to be able to track my sleep, my deep sleep, my heart rate, my body temperature, because I want to make sure that I can have the most deep restorative sleep possible. I want to wake up refreshed. I want to wake up with energy. And I want to allow my hormones and my body to heal itself while I'm sleeping. So sleep obviously is a key principle that is worth learning about and going deeper into. The other one, of course, is diet, what you put into your body. So making sure that you understand food and you're putting in foods that is actually nourishing your body and nurturing it and giving you more energy, not taking away your energy. Obviously, water is a big component of health. Making sure you learn more about water. You're having water that is more alkaline, that's structured a certain way, that is more of an antioxidant type water, to even breathing and breath is a huge principle and component of health, to, of course, your mindset and your emotions that you consistently experience and eliminating stress. So there's a variety of principles, and they're so simple, but they just require you going deeper with them, reading books on them, studying on them, going to events and learning about these different things. That's what I think a lot of people don't do enough, is they don't explore the opportunities that exist within each of those different aspects of your health to really be able to maximize it so that you can be performing at your optimal efficiency. Someone's asked about the Human Garage. Yes, I did a great YouTube video and interview with them on my YouTube channel, but Human Garage has been a huge breakthrough for us because they work with a lot of professional athletes, celebrities. They do a lot of body work, alignment, chiropractic, all this sort of stuff to help make sure that your whole body's aligned, because if it's not, your body will always be in stress. And as long as your body's always in stress due to misalignments, that's going to create a lot of health problems as well. So that's been a big eye-opener, and that's on the YouTube channel for you to look more into. Can you repeat the name of the first documentary? It's called Heal. How do you apply for U.S. residency? So for that, you need a U.S. immigration lawyer. There's different types of visas that you can get. Right now, I'm either going to pursue an E2 visa, which is an investor visa. It requires an investment of $100,000, and you can renew that every 2 years for as long as you want. It does not lead to a green card or permanent residency, but it's still a great option. The other option is there's an extraordinary person visa, that if you're a public figure, then there's a bit of a fast track to that. Like if you're a professional athlete, if you're a celebrity, if you're more of even someone like myself can qualify for that because I'm a public figure. Usually you can immigrate there a lot easier and faster through something like that. Angelina says, what's your wealth mindset hack? And how much time should I dedicate to my online business at first? Well, Angelina, you should dedicate as much time as you can to your online business. The more time you put into it, the more you're going to benefit from it. Like for me, when I was building my online business at first, and I was working different jobs just to pay my bills, I remember I had opportunities where I could have made more money short term. Like I could have taken on a client here or there, or I could have worked some extra hours to make more short-term money. But I was willing to always forego that and sacrifice that because I instead would much rather put that time into my online business because I believed in the potential of that and what that could do for my life. So the more time you put in, like for me, I was willing to sacrifice a lot. My friends would call me, hey Stefan, what are you doing tonight? What do you got going on this weekend? You want to come to this barbecue or this or that? And I learned how to say no to those things because I'd much rather put my time into my business because I believed in that potential and I wanted to get there a lot faster. I didn't want to wait as much. And I made a lot of those sacrifices so that I could then get a better return from that. So for me, that's kind of how I prioritize that. And that's what I recommend. I mean, the more time you put in, the sooner that you learn and grow and invest in it, the sooner that you get the results from those types of things. In terms of wealth mindset, it comes down to your belief system, your blueprint about it. We all have different associations and beliefs when it comes to money, and you got to resolve them. You got to kind of be aware of what some of those are. Sometimes a lot of people, they might believe, for example, that having a lot of money is bad, or to have a lot of money means you're selfish, or you're less spiritual, or you might have to do certain things to make money that are outside your integrity. Or maybe you might even just believe that you're not worthy and deserving of having a lot of money. Or maybe, it's just not, you have certain beliefs around money that are just holding you back. And I think the deeper that you can go with that and address those beliefs and resolve them, that's kind of the most important thing I've learned, because there's all these things that keep coming up at every level that you get to. Right? Like I've learned from myself as I've grown more in my business or with financially, there's more things that have become barriers and obstacles that I've had to overcome that I didn't even know about until I got to these new levels. And so that's why I think also being aware of mindset and your beliefs and how to shift them, I think that's a very important skill to have. One event, if you want to learn more about a mindset, there's a book and an event I'll give you guys. One is Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. That's a great book. Another great book is called The Millionaire Fast Lane by M.J. DeMarco. That's a great book too. And of course, F.U. Money by Dan Lok. But a great event is the Millionaire Mind Intensive. Okay, Millionaire Mind Intensive by Peak Potentials. That's a great seminar that really goes deep into your money blueprint and your beliefs, and helping you make those shifts in that, so that you can move forward and create the financial wealth. But my mindset around wealth is that money is just a reflection of the value that you provide and what you contribute. The more that you contribute, the more money that you make. Okay, so for example, the more that I put into adding value to customers or creating a product or service that can contribute and add value to people, the more money that flows back to me. Even investing is you contributing. You're investing money by contributing in other companies, and you get a number of shares from that you get a return on. So when I made my mindset shift around money to stop focusing on making money as much, but instead focusing on adding value and contributing, then the money followed from that. So that was a big shift in my psychology when it came to that. And it still is to this day, where I just focus on, I know that the more that I just help and serve and add value, create products or services and improve it, make it better, or whatever it is, the more that flows back to me. The same thing goes if you have a job right now, you're getting paid in direct proportion to the value that you're providing. So you're providing a certain amount of value to your employer. And if you want to make more money from your employer, you can increase the value, contribute more to that company, to your employer, and then they can justify paying you more and giving you a raise. Or you increase your value, you become more valuable, and then maybe you find another job that you can then contribute to at a greater level to, and you get paid more from that. So wealth comes down to the value that you're providing. And when you focus on becoming more valuable and contributing more, money always follows from that. At what point does it make sense to start exploring the offshore opportunities for tax benefits? It can make sense pursuing it early, of course, but I think first making sure you have a business that's making you money. There are a lot of expenses with it. I mean, you have to hire lawyers and accountants, and you have to justify, is it going to be worth it? And the way you justify it is that your business is making money and you're paying a significant amount of money in taxes. So, if you're not paying taxes or you're not making money, it's kind of pointless for you to pursue. If you're making, if you're spending, $100,000 a year in taxes to the government, and you can bring that $100,000 tax bill down to, $50,000 and cut that in half and save $50,000 a year, then you can then justify hiring lawyers and accountants to pay for that. So that's kind of what it's going to come down to, is you have to look at what is the main benefit you're going to get from this. It mainly is going to provide a benefit for you, again, if you're paying a lot of money in taxes. So for myself, I'm paying a lot in taxes. I'm going to save millions of dollars. And it's cost me tens of thousands of dollars with lawyers and accountants, but I'm going to save millions of dollars. So it makes sense to do that. I wish I did it earlier, maybe, when it wasn't going to cost me millions of dollars, but or millions of dollars in tax savings, but even just at the six-figure level, it would have been worth me pursuing. So that's for you to decide, obviously. But for me, I think if I were to do it again, I think when I was making around $100,000 to $200,000 a year, it would have been worthwhile to dive a little bit more into that to learn about the benefits of it. So someone asked about Burning Man. I have not been to Burning Man yet. I've been meaning to go forever. I've got tons of friends that love it. I've got a lot of great friends that have invited me to their camps and everything, but I have not had a chance to go yet. So usually summer times are a little bit tough for me because I'm usually traveling around and stuff. So it might be a possibility it will be a possibility in the future. It's on my list, but right now probably not in the short-term future. What opportunity would you recommend to start with to improve your financial situation if you don't have much disposable income? So if you don't have much money or disposable income, then I'd recommend pursuing either increasing the amount of money you're getting paid from your existing job or finding a even higher paying job, okay? So maybe it's with your employer, being able to make more money with them, exploring opportunities that exist there, okay? Ought to even explore other jobs outside of what you're doing right now. So there's tons of opportunities out there for jobs that can pay you more than what you're getting paid right now. I mentioned before, maybe it's an online job as a freelancer that could provide freedom for you, and you could go to websites like Upwork.com or Elance.com, and you have a skill that you can then provide to people, and they hire you for that, and you can make money doing that. So that's the first place that I would start, making more money there. Ultimately, I think building a business, an online business that can provide a passive income for you. I mean, there's businesses that you can start now inexpensively, but the more money that you have to put it forth into a business, the easier it's going to be, the faster it's going to be, the more you're going to be able to accelerate it as well. So online business, I think, is the best opportunity that I would pursue. But if not, just looking at the low-hanging fruit, which is your existing job, as well as online opportunities that exist, because at least if you're working online, you're making money from working from home or wherever you want to be, but also you're developing online skills that are directly transferable to your online business to help you grow that too. Who are the most impressive, lesser-known teachers and mentors in general? I'd have to think about that more, but what comes up to me right now is Satyen Raja and Suzanne. Satyen and Suzanne, they're friends of mine. They're in Vancouver or Langley, but they're amazing mentors of mine, and they've got some content out there online a little bit, but they're not like huge public figures. So Satyen Raja and Suzanne Raja, they're great. When you settle down in California, will you still create new companies in another country for tax benefits? If so, is Panama a top choice? That's something that I'd have to discuss more with my accountants and stuff when the time comes. And then also, the US just went through tax reform, and it kind of depends on, based on that and having foreign companies in those circumstances. So we've done a little bit of planning on that now, but we haven't gone too deep into that. Because I'm still keeping my corporations in Canada too. The way that we're setting it up in Singapore is we're actually doing a royalty structure. So it gets a little bit more advanced, but those are all things that I have my accountants usually deal with. Panama has some disadvantages for corporate banking because that's why Singapore is better, because for an online business, you have to look at a lot of factors. Like for myself, I use PayPal and ClickBank and Stripe and Amazon, all these different things. And for example, Panama can't receive direct deposits from certain things, or they're kind of limited with PayPal a little bit. So it kind of depends on certain countries and the banking of whether it kind of suits your needs for your business too. So those are other factors you have to look into. What is your main gear for health? What ring is that? I noticed that they have a few. Can you elaborate on magnetic therapy? And have you ever used the chili pad or done inversion therapy? Yes. So I've got actually a lot of videos that have already gone over a lot of this stuff, and it's also inside the Life Mastery Accelerator. So if you want to go deeper with it, I share a ton there. This is the Oura ring, O-U-R-A ring, and it does tracking your activity, your sleep, and syncs with an app and has a lot of great benefits for it. They got a new ring coming out as well that I've got coming soon. This has been great. In terms of health gear, everything from my water ionizer to my treadmill desk to my mini trampoline to PEMF mat and technology to blue blocking glasses and the chili pad. There's a whole variety of different things that I like to use that have made differences in my health. Chili pad is great because it regulates the body temperature when you're sleeping. So usually when you go into sleep, your body temperature actually drops by 3 degrees Fahrenheit, but you want to make sure that your temperature is just optimal to help go into deep sleep. Usually women need to be at a different temperature than men as well. So the ChiliPad allows you to regulate the temperature of your mattress for each side of the bed. So if you're sleeping with your partner, you can regulate the temperature and help have a much deeper sleep. Inversion therapy, if you're talking about hanging upside down or using an inversion table, yes, I've done that. That's great for decompression and has a lot of great health benefits. What is your theory on chiropractors and do you use them? Chiropractors are great. There's a lot of different types. I like using chiropractic in conjunction with a lot of body work because that's why I like to go to the Human Garage, because they look at the bigger picture. And then also NSA is great, which is Network Spinal Analysis by Donnie Epstein. Okay, NSA, Network Spinal Analysis. You might be able to find a few practitioners where you live, but there's a lot of great benefits to that as well. Okay, we'll take a few more questions, guys, and we'll wrap it up. Great questions so far. Any issues and advice with getting high quality supplements and organic foods while living in Panama or Singapore? So I'm not planning on living in Singapore, so I can't really reference that. And Panama, I won't be able to provide that much with you yet. I just have heard from different friends it is a little bit challenging to get supplements there and some really healthy organic food. And that's often been my experience when you go to a lot of different countries, as it can be a little bit more challenging. There is one place that I know of in Panama, or I've been told about, that you can get really good healthy organic food. For me and Tatiana, we're actually going to have our friends have this assistant that we're going to be using that kind of takes care of all that stuff for us. So because it is a little bit of a ways away, so they're going to buy us all that sort of stuff. But I don't know. I'd have to look deeper into that, but I think it definitely is a little bit more limited for sure. Supplements you can always get shipped in different ways. It's just a little bit more complex because sometimes you have to ship them to the US and then from the US ship it, so you pay a lot more in shipping usually to be able to get the supplements. But you can still get them if you're resourceful enough for that. How have you found your mentors along the years, and how many have you had? I've had tons of mentors. I don't even know how many to count, but I found them just by going to events online, hiring them, going to meetups, meeting friends and building relationships. And my friends share with me different mentors they've gone to or different events. And I've just been doing self-growth now for 14, 15 years. So when you've been always just doing that, I mean, like for example, I remember one of my early mentors. I had a bunch of mentors online when I was 17 years old, one of them being David D'Angelo, who's Evan Pagan. And he was like an online mentor of mine through his books and his content. But then I joined a community in Vancouver of other guys who were also into this, and I met up with them every week. And then they told me about the seminar and this guy and that guy. So I went to the seminar with them. And I think it's just kind of an ongoing journey like that. But that's why you've got to put yourself in those situations. You have to invest in courses and trainings and events and seminars and masterminds and coaches. All of that I paid for. I've paid and taken out my wallet or wrote in a check to all these different mentors that I've had in my life. I've gone to their events, all that sort of stuff. And so that's just the reality of it. And I think it just comes through just constant self-growth. If I've just decided the money that I've made throughout my life, especially when I was younger, I just decided to put it back into myself, investing in growth opportunities. I could have gone out partying with my friends. I could have spent it on alcohol. I could have spent it on all these, video games and other things that people do. I just decided I'm going to take that money and put it into my own personal growth and put it into my future. And that's what led to me working with different mentors and coaches and when those opportunities have come up. So I think when you start taking those actions, it just starts opening up more doors, more opportunities for you to then take advantage of. I know you emphasize on long-term mindset, but thoughts on IPO, icons, or other speculative stuff you may have utilized. So for me, I try not to make any short-term riskier types of investments like that. Like for me, my business is actually the best way to make money. It usually always will be, because you have control over that and you can make as much money as you want from your business. So for me, that's kind of like the short-term cash machine, the vehicle for that. But with the money that I do make, I invest that in long-term things. So I don't know, I've just never really gotten into the short-term type stuff. Not that there's not opportunity there, but I'm actually a very cautious investor. I'm very strategic about the decisions that I do make in my life. I've never been a huge risk taker. And I think that's been a good thing. I think that's a great thing, a great quality to have. But I know how to utilize and take advantage of opportunities, but I'm not willing to take significant risks to things like that. So I know a friend recently that lost a lot of money with an ICO, and I don't know, whenever those opportunities have come up, I prefer to take the longer route in a way, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay on focusing on that journey. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. Hopefully you guys got some benefit and value from this. It's a pleasure and honor to be able to share with you guys and discuss with you some of the things I'm pursuing and my mindset, and hopefully be able to answer a lot of the questions that you guys have shared with me today. But you know, guys, I think the big thing is just that there's tons of opportunities available for us, and get excited for it. You know, the future's bright. You can focus on, a lot of people, they focus on their failures, the past, or things not working out. And the more you focus on that, the more you attract that into your life, the more that you stay stuck. And instead, if you focus on the opportunities, you focus on your future, you focus on what's yet to come, you focus on the possibilities of your life, make that your focus. Because the more you focus on that, the more you bring that into your life, the more that you attract it. And that's not to say you don't look at the downside and the risk. I think you got to be intelligent about that. You got to be strategic about that. But overall, focus on where you want to go and what's going to bring you there. And say yes more. You know, there's a great movie called Yes Man with Jim Carrey, where he just decides he's going to say yes to everything. And, you know, obviously you got to have some balance. Learning how to say no is an important skill as well. But being able to say yes a lot more than no, I think that's the key. You know, having a good balance of that, and that's what's going to bring you closer towards the life that you want to live. You know, so keep moving forward, guys. Keep taking advantage of opportunities that show up, and keep taking action with that. It's amazing how much your life can change and transform over the years when you do so. So my birthday is coming up actually on Thursday, and I'm turning 32 years old. And around this time of the year, I always kind of look back, and I'm like, I think back at my life and what I am grateful for and appreciative of, and I look back at the opportunities that were presented, the ones that I said yes to. That's what's allowed me to be where I'm at today. You know, even interviewing Eben and going over this book, it brought a lot back, because I'm so grateful for this man. Because when I was 17 years old, if it wasn't for him and I didn't say yes to certain opportunities that he presented, my life would not be where it is today. So I'm a living result and proof, I guess you could say, of this. And I think that all of you are in the right direction. You're in the right path. You're here. You showed up. Great, great for that. And read the book and keep taking action. Use this, utilize it in your life, and be aware of these opportunities that come up and be prepared for it. As I said, anticipate them and be flexible so that you can really utilize them for your life and for your future, and be able to create the life that you want. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for joining in. It's been a pleasure, as always. And thank you guys for your support and for being a subscriber. And hopefully you guys got some value, just as a special bonus that I wanted to do for you guys that got the book, just to kind of share and be able to help you guys out a little bit. All right, guys, have an awesome day. Have an awesome week. I'll talk to you again soon. Take care.